All right, let's talk about the brand new patch that is dropping tomorrow and also what to expect from it. First things first, the patch is dropping around 2 p.m. Pacific time, and we got 2 new fighters. First fighter, as you can see right here, is Sean Brady, and the second fighter we'll be getting is Jalen Turner. So these 2 fighters will be available with the patch. But of course, every time there's a new patch, we also get new alter egos and also fight week challenges depending on the pay-per-view that's going on. So this one's going to be the UFC 299 fight week challenges and also new alter egos. I'm not really sure who the alter egos are or how many alter egos we're getting, but we'll find that out on March 5th at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Moving into the actual meat of this patch, as you can see, striking right there, they've increased the stamina cost of blocked, missed, and evaded strikes in a stand-up. So now, if you're throwing strikes, the stamina that you're going to lose is going to be increased, and that is for shots that are blocked, shots that are missed, and also shots that are evaded. It says this change is similar to the one in the previous patch, but also bigger. Plus 7.5 for blocked strikes and plus 10% for missed and evaded strikes, which makes sense, right? If you make somebody miss and you make them and you evade a strike, they usually lose more stamina. So this, in theory, should result in a noticeable change to how stamina works. We'll see how it actually looks in practice. It says, even though the change is larger than the previous tune-in, it is an incremental change rather than an overhaul. You may notice we often go more for significant increases or decreases when tuning other aspects of the game. However, stamina is a very complex variable with a heavy compounding effect. Therefore, in this one case, we have to be more cautious, which makes sense. So kudos to them for actually explaining why they are making small incremental changes as opposed to big ones, right? They're saying stamina can compound. Things can really snowball out of control. So they got to be careful. Of course, what we've suggested to them is that they make their big change, have us test out the patch before the patch actually goes live, and we'll be able to tell them if the change they made is too small or if it's too big. But at the moment, they don't really have the infrastructure or whatever set up to be able to send us patches ahead of time. So until they do that, this is pretty much what we're going to get. So hopefully it is enough, and if it's not enough, they're saying they'll keep increasing it. So we will see how everything plays out tomorrow. They fixed a tracking issue with spinning strikes. This one I wasn't noticing too much just because I wasn't encountering a lot of players that were throwing a lot of spinning strikes, but apparently spinning strikes were unduly tracking evasions and it was possible to evade them. But it required an unintended sweet spot in timing that other strikes don't demand. Now they should behave like other strikes, so that's good. Right there, they've done quite a bit to elbows. A lot of people have been complaining about elbows. Of course, players in the game throw a lot of elbows, more elbows than we typically see in the UFC. So they're doing something to that. Right there, they said they've reduced the base damage of the spinning elbows from the lead elbow from 30 to 25, for the rear elbow from 35 to 20. So this is nerfing the elbows. It's not buffing the elbows, it's nerfing them, making them less powerful. They've also reduced the range of the spinning elbow. So the distance they cover has been reduced. The range was reduced from that of a jab range to that of a regular stand-up elbow range. Very interesting. Very interesting. I wonder if that was also done for the advancing spinning elbow or just when you throw the spinning elbow stationary. Something to test once this patch drops. They reduced the block stun caused by the spinning elbows, which is good. So when you get hit by the spinning elbow, the person that gets hit, there's a stun that happens, and that stun prevents you from doing anything. They've said they've reduced how long that block stun is. So that means after the spinning elbow is landed, you'll be able to act sooner than we were able to before. So that's good. That is definitely a significant nerf to the spinning elbow. Right there, it says this means the defender can act sooner after blocking the strike. The spinning elbows will end up at a greater timing disadvantage after they're blocked, which is wow. You got to be real careful with spinning elbows now, and which is good because a lot of players were starting to exploit the spinning elbows because they did bleed through damage and they actually cut you open more, and they were doing that, of course, to try to lead to doctor stoppages. So this should be a noticeable nerf to spinning elbows. It says they've halved the block bleed through caused by spinning elbows. That's very good, from 10% to 5%. That's good. Says this is the percentage of damage that goes through regardless of the block meter. they've quadrupled the vulnerability conceded by spinning elbows. Oh my god. So if you get hit trying to throw a spinning elbow, the vulnerability has been quadrupled, which means we might be seeing a lot of people getting knocked out cold trying to spin a Rooney. So that's good. Just recently, I fought a literal ballerina in the octagon. You guys saw that video. It was hilarious. A player like that is about to be in for a rude awakening. So we'll see. Says they've reduced the base damage of the regular stand-up elbows. So the lead one from 20 to 17.5. The rear one from 25 to 22.5. Okay, and they've slightly increased the vulnerability conceded by regular stand-up elbows. Damn. Man, they are nerfing elbows into the ground, huh? We'll see. From the same as a jab to that of a hook. Okay, so the vulnerability used to be that of a jab, and now it's going to be the vulnerability of a hook. We'll see how that plays out. They've made it harder to cause the special guard breaks. This is very good. So like if you're throwing the hook kicks, the rolling thunder, you actually get to a point where every single time you throw it into the block, it breaks the block. And it can, some players can use that. So they're saying that they've made it harder for those strikes to break through the block. So that's good. The long-term block threshold changed from 85 to 60. All right. They've removed an unintended damage penalty from nose injuries. It says that affected straight and upper arc strikes, increasing the damage by over 30%. This fix should reduce the compounding effect of causing a nose injury and make corresponding doctor stoppages significantly harder to achieve. That's good. That is very good. It says they've improved blood particle effects from big hits when the fighter is bleeding significantly from the nose or mouth. This change was in the previous patch, but not informed in the patch notes. Okay, there we go. We noticed that. I was talking about that like, man, there is some like big blood squirting showing up. They had to have done something about that. So they did. They just did not mention it in the patch notes. So that's good. Of course, one thing that we don't see right here is anything done with the strike tracking, which is a big issue with the game right now. Strikes tracking when they shouldn't. They did something, to the spinning back fist tracking, but overall they haven't really addressed that. And it's, again, they've talked about how it's not that they don't know it's an issue, it's just a very complex issue to fix. And so hopefully, man, we get to that, because that is just one of the worst aspects of the game right now. And once they fix it, I think things will just feel better, in my opinion. So that is it for the striking changes. We're going to move on to the grappling changes. This one is in regards to the double leg bail. It says canceling a double leg into the over on the clinch will now require a 1% stamina advantage. So if you're not a player that knows how to manage your stamina, and if you're not someone that knows how to time that double leg bail properly, it is going to now require skill to bail into an over on the clinch, as opposed to the way players used to do it before. So this is going to take some getting used to, and I cannot wait to see how this one plays out. It says this is a much requested change that aims to encourage more variety in wrestling. Hey, look, more variety in wrestling is always good, but the problem is that the regular wrestling we have in the game doesn't really work properly half the time. The double legs range is ridiculously small. The single leg range is ridiculously small. It is too easy to deny regular takedowns we see, like doubles and singles. And so it kind of forces players to try to improvise, right? To try to use the clinch to try to secure takedowns, or muscle opponents to the cage to secure takedowns. So hopefully, in addition to these changes, they are also doing something to buff the regular takedowns, because that is one of the best ways that you're going to encourage variety. If the regular shit is not working, no one's going to try to use the regular shit, because it costs stamina, to try to take someone down the regular way, and you're freaking gassing out. So we'll see. We'll see how all this plays out when we actually get our hands on the game. It says they reduced the stamina advantage requirement for canceling the single leg and low single leg into the back clinch from 30% to 20%. Okay. Ground and pound submissions will now require a health event. That's good. That is good. What it means is, a lot of times when you knock somebody down, so let's just read this right here. It says this change's goal is to prevent the submission true combos that were possible by stringing deep submissions and desperate escapes that ended up in a ground and pound position. So what it means is, a lot of times when you perform a submission, for example, when you hit somebody with an arm bar, and it depletes their health, their submission health. A lot of times you roll them in the mount and then you get postured up, so you're now in a ground and pound position. And a lot of times when you find yourself in that ground and pound position with your opponent's stamina already all the way low, you get a prompt to hit them with another submission, which made submission true combos, and that is a big problem. It was really OP. Anytime you get put into that, unless your opponent completely screws up, it is a sub, right? So they've changed that. Now those ground and pound submissions will require a health event, which means you gotta rock the opponent, you gotta knock them down, they gotta be rocked for you to get that prompt to get the submission when you're in the ground and pound position. So that should help. That should really help. They've reduced the stamina advantage requirement of some ground and pound transitions. It says from postured full guard to stag guard 50 to 10. That's good. That's good. Stag guard to half guard 10 to 5. Stag guard to side control 25. That's good. They fixed an issue with the Darce struggle animation temporarily hiding other actions. A lot of some players knew about this. You know, Nas UFC, you know, kind of exposed this. Not that he was doing it. He made a video telling people about it, which is good. Pretty much, players would hide the actual Darce submission by struggling, and when you struggle, you can then initiate the Darce, the actual Darce submission, and it doesn't show up on the prompt soon enough. So by the time it actually shows up, by the time you see the animation, it's already too late. The circle has already filled up, and you get submitted. So they fixed that issue now, which is a pretty good thing. Because man, some players were absolutely abusing the hell out of the Darce choke. It said they added a heel hook entry to the top stack guard ground and pound position. Yeah, baby. You know, you guys know how much I love my heel hooks. Woo, there we go. It says it requires heel hook level 1, and according to how the ground and pound submission shall work after this patch, it also requires a health event. Okay, I knock you down, I get into stacked, I'm taking your legs. So here we go. Ooh, this is a good one. They've added a muscle modifier to be used in transitions from bottom mount to bottom back mount. Ooh, very good. Because man, some players, even with some of the changes that we've got, some players are still very good at holding you in mount. And man, sometimes you want to just roll to your back and try to find an escape right there. But now they're saying you can use the muscle modifier to do that. Of course, what the muscle modifier does is it speeds up your transition at the cost of more stamina. All right, so there's a cost, but man, unless they pre-deny that, you are escaping. Right now we have that in side control bottom, which is why nobody is getting held in side control anymore, which is good. The ground game has been opened up, and now it's been added to bottom mount, so that's a very good thing. Very glad. Says they've slightly reduced facial redness during submissions. Thank you for that, because that was kind of ridiculous, man. Your face getting all red regardless of the submission, and it's both people, right? So that's pretty much gonna do it. These miscellaneous additions and updates, new vanity rewards, incorrect vanity descriptions, rare crashes, blah blah. So this is pretty much it for the patch. What I'm gonna do is tomorrow, once the patch drops, I'm going to try to record showcases with these two fighters, as well as test out some of these changes in the patch. And then we're probably going to do like a patch review and just to talk about what's working. Are we noticing any differences, or are things staying pretty much exactly as they were before? I am optimistic, but not ridiculously confident that we're going to notice major changes. Just if I'm being honest with you guys, but we shall see how things play out tomorrow. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys learned something from this today. This one's for my night owls. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching.